Welcome. Very excited to be doing my first LinkedIn Live. Absolutely love joining folks via webinar, and so excited to connect via LinkedIn as well and see how this works. So afterwards, please DM me, send me your thoughts, let me know what worked well for you and what didn't. But with that, we will just kind of go ahead and jump in because we only have 30 minutes together and quite a bit of opportunity to uncover. So hopefully everybody can see my screen here and the gal who looks like she just landed herself a pretty awesome opportunity. I know this feeling. It's that feeling of, oh my God, I'm so excited for what's next, right? And so as we dive in, this is the feeling that I am looking forward to sharing with all of you as being an active participant in your journey ahead. So let's go ahead and kind of talk a little bit more about who I am and what's inspired me to spend the next 30 minutes with you. So I'm Felicia Heward. I'm the founder of Lake Effect HR Consulting. I'm a fractional head of people for multiple organizations. But most importantly, what makes me a subject matter expert in career navigation it is kind of from two sides. One, I grew up in the corporate world. I worked for numerous large organizations, including General Dynamics, Boeing, General Electric, and Tesla as when it was a startup. So as you can imagine, I have seen quite a few folks have pretty amazing careers. And unfortunately, a number of folks, including myself, get to that point where we just feel stuck, right? And so I know that firsthand experience of what it's like to be growing, to be developing, to be contributing. And then all of a sudden you just feel like you're not going anywhere, right? And you just are thirsting for what is next. What is it going to take for me to get unstuck? And, what is it going to take for me to get to that next great opportunity? And so I applaud you for taking the time to tune in and create some clarity for yourself, right? And so we won't be able to dive into everything you need to kind of, jump into that next great opportunity. But what I will share with you is the formula that I have used myself to get unstuck when I'm in that situation of I'm not growing, I'm not developing, I'm not earning, I'm not learning, I'm just not being fulfilled, right? I don't have that joy. So I'm happy to share that formula with you all here today, as well as additional resources so that once you start feeling like, oh, I'm heading in the right direction and this is feeling, pretty good and I'm doing well, where you can kind of continue the momentum that we begin here today. So let's kind of start with that stuck situation. So for me, and what really kind of inspired me to take the time and figure out what's it going to take to get unstuck is I had this amazing career, right? All these great opportunities, all this growth, all this development. And then all of a sudden, the business that I was in did some restructuring. And I found myself in a role where I didn't feel like I was growing. I was knocking the heck out of everything that was coming my way, but I wasn't growing. I wasn't developing. I was feeling just really stuck, right? That term of just I'm here and I don't know where to go. And I had a moment where I was sitting one-on-one with my manager and I was coaching her through something that she was going through in her role just because of my background expertise. And I thought to myself, gosh, like I need to do something, right? I can't just stay here. This is not the place for me, right? And so from the outside, I know I had a lot of colleagues, looking at it thinking, hey, you got this cush job. What are you complaining about? Just be happy, right? But I wanted more, right? I had to figure out how do I dig deep and figure out what in the world I need to do to get beyond where I'm at today because I don't like just being here and stagnant, right? I want joy again at work. And so I didn't have anyone who could hand the formula to me. Instead, I had to go figure it out on myself. And so I'm excited and inspired to share it with you in the hopes that it helps you get unstuck as well. So, so we think about being unstuck, right? We think about showing up like the ladies here on the screen, right? They are confident, they are excited, they mean business, right? They have the clarity, and they are empowered to go do something. I want to show up to work looking like this, right? I want to be excited. I want to be motivated. I want this. I don't want to feel stuck, right? And so, in order to get this, I clearly need to understand not so much what got me here, because we don't have time to dig into all the reasons that as professional women we get stuck. There's quite a few of them. What's more important is how do we unlock that clarity that we need so that we can begin moving in the right direction, right? And get toward that joy again at work, right? Whether it's in the organization you're in today or, through the reflection and through the investment, right? In finding that right next opportunity, it may be somewhere else. It's different for everyone, but first and foremost, you need to have that moment of self-reflection and really identify, okay, what is it that I need in order to move forward in my career journey, right? And, right, resemble more of that presence that we're seeing, like the women here on the screen, right? That confidence that I'm excited to be here, that, energized, empowered, and let's go. So, how do we unlock that clarity? That's truly the first part of the formula. All right. As we think about clarity, right, it is that navigation towards what's next. So think about your career, okay, like planning for a trip, right? We see the suitcase there on the left, all right? I look at that and I kind of wonder, my goodness, what happened? Where is this person headed? What are they going to do when they get there? There's just so much to unpack that you don't even know where to start, right? But God forbid that little strap breaks, because it's all going to come undone, right? That's what feeling stuck looks like. So I think about that. And as we think about, all those things in our career that are jam-packed in that suitcase on the left, right? That's our skills and experiences. We've had a lot of them, right? But we don't necessarily need all of them as we move forward to that next opportunity, right? As we think about the resources, the tools, the insight, just all those things that we currently have, some of it may be weighing us down. It may be holding us back, right? From how we can truly bring value into that next great opportunity. When we have too much cram packed in there, it's really, really hard to clearly see, okay, where do I go next, right? And so the best thing to do is to decide, all right, what do I really, really need, right? What do I really, really need in order to move forward? So I encourage you to open up a Word doc, grab a piece of paper, a pencil, however you like to capture your thoughts in this. I encourage you to take a minute and think about that next opportunity. Okay, as you think about that next opportunity, I want you to put a number 1 down, and I want you to write strengths and abilities that I'm going to use. Okay, so what strengths and abilities do you possess that you want to use in this next opportunity? It's not every single strength that you possess, right? It's not every single thing that you're capable of doing. It's those top 2, maybe 3, right? Strengths and abilities that you feel make you so valuable, right? To a team, to an organization, to a business. I'll pause there for a second and let you guys capture your thoughts. Okay. So, those strengths and abilities that we bring, right? That we want to take with us. Um, Chances are, right? We've tested them. We know they work, right? And there's some key experiences, right, that you have had in your career that you feel like, gosh, these are extremely valuable to whoever decides, right, that I'm an awesome fit, right, for their challenge, their project, that next opportunity. So for number 2, I want you to write experiences I'm going to take with me and put 1 or 2 down that come to mind. These are the things that as you think about your career, you are absolutely most proud of. These are the experiences that you take with you and you bring value to wherever you're going next as a result of these. 1, maybe 2 that come to mind. Great. So we've got our strengths and our abilities. We've got those experiences, right? That we know, gosh, these are going to take me places. Next, on our third bullet, what do we want to have ownership of in this new opportunity? So, as you think about finding joy again at work, right? What is it that you truly want to have ownership of? You may not have it in your role today, which is why you're feeling stuck, or you may have it and you just might not be in an atmosphere where you're empowered to deliver on it. Regardless, as you think about, gosh, moving forward, Felicia, this is what I want to have ownership of in that next role. Capture it here because it's very important to ensure that you are pursuing that right opportunity that's going to help you feel very engaged in what you're doing. All right. So we've got our strengths and our abilities. We've got those experiences. We know what we want to have ownership of. Now, that's a really, really important factor because if you only go after these three things in that next opportunity, sooner or later, and I would say 6 months or less, you're going to find yourself stuck again. So I have found that you have to figure out and scope out what is it that I want to be learning and developing in. So for that fourth bullet, capture learning and developing, right? And ask yourself in this next opportunity, where do I want to learn more? What do I want to learn more about? What's an area that I have an interest in developing depth in? Because maybe I have a bit of experience there, right? I've had some exposure to it, but it's not an area that I have fully developed, right? So as we think about that learning and development aspect of that next opportunity, let's capture, right? What is it that I want to get out of this next for me? Right? As I'm navigating my career, this is the part that I feel like, oh, it's going to be a stretch. That's where that excitement is going to lie, right? That's how we're going to ensure that 6 months down the road after this new opportunity, we are not feeling stuck again, right? Because we have taken the time to ensure that we are owning that development journey, right? We're already thinking about how we're going to learn and grow in that next role. So, okay. So now the fifth part, okay, is influencing and shaping. Right? So as we think about that next ideal opportunity, what is it that you want to influence and shape, right? You may not have ownership on this, all right? So it's a bit different than ownership, right? Influencing and shaping means that you're going to be playing an active role in something, right? And it's very likely tied to an area that you're passionate about. As you think about your core, as you think about your values, as you think about maybe in the organization you're in today, the mission, if there is an element that you're like, gosh, I really want to be more influential here, right? Or I want to shape the future of XYZ. Right? Let's capture that there because that's very important, right? To ensuring that you're entering into an opportunity where you feel very engaged, right? And that you can be successful there. Okay. And then lastly, because there's a lot here, right? What are we going to spend less time on? Okay. So we think back to our lovely suitcase, right? We can't just keep cramming things in it, right? We have to figure out what is it that we are going to spend less time doing, okay? Because if we spend less time doing this, we're going to have more opportunity, right, to be influential in those areas. We're going to have more opportunity to focus on investing in ourselves and our growth and our development, right, in that area that we said, hey, I want to learn more about this, right? And so we have to figure out what is it that maybe historically you've been known to be able to execute well on, but it doesn't necessarily fulfill you, or let's hope that it brings value to your organization, but maybe it doesn't even bring value to your organization, right? It's that busy work that somehow was incorporated into your role and just doesn't need to be there. So let's think about those things where it's like, gosh, if I go into another opportunity where I have to X, Y, or Z, I will just pull my hair out, right? That's the stuff you want to put on there. because those are the opportunities that you want to make sure, ooh, if it's very, very heavy in this area that I've said I don't want to spend a lot of time in, that's not the right fit for me, right? I don't want to go there because I'm going to feel stuck. I'm going to feel stuck doing things that just don't engage me, right? They don't inspire me. They don't make me feel, that I'm in a joyful place at work. So let's capture a few of those down. We all have them, right? We all have those things where it's like, gosh, I just don't want to spend as much time doing and whatever it is. Okay. Whew. So hopefully, as you have spent the last few minutes doing a bit of self-reflection, and I know it's speedy, and I apologize for that, but I'm trying to cram as much as I can here and for you guys in the 30 minutes. Hopefully, you have a clear line of sight to that fire within, right? Hopefully, you're starting to feel a little bit of wiggle and a little bit of excitement, right? Because you're realizing, goodness, yeah, you're right. There's a few things weighing me down, right? There's a few things that are just not in my current role that I want to have in my career, right? That they're going to help me feel empowered. They're going to help me feel successful. I'm going to get joy again at work, right? If I can find a role that is scoped more like the thoughts that I've captured here. Okay. And so when we do that, right, we are better able to find opportunities where we have not only joy at work, but we're bringing our value to that organization. So let's take a look at that suitcase on the right? Very different. It's very clear as you look at this one, right? Okay, here's the 3 days this person is spending, on this trip, right? And it looks like it's gonna be a sunny place because they got their sunglasses, and it looks like they're gonna do some walking, right? Because they got some flats in there. Like it's very clear where this person is headed, right? And they, right, put the tools, the resources, the skills, the abilities, right? They put everything they needed into that role, and it's clear, wow, they're going to be successful in it. So that's that goal and clarity. That first step to my formula is you don't want to show up to an opportunity and have somebody walk away wondering, I wonder where they want to take their career. When you take that moment and self-reflect like we just did, it helps clarify what it is you truly want, what it is that will truly engage you, and helps you see those opportunities, right, as they arise that will bring more value, right, to your career and to the organization. So, whew, I know it's a lot. There's a few other things I want to make sure I give you guys here as we crank through our lunch hour. So the rest of my foundational formula, I do have a webinar that is a bit longer, and I go through kind of all the elements and kind of really help you bake everything out. But for the sake of time, just want to make sure that you've got everything you need, and then me as a resource if I can help further, right? So clarity, right? Clarity is that exercise we just went through. It's simply uncovering the right scope of the role that's going to really fulfill you, right? It's going to stretch you, it's going to grow you. You've got ownership in the areas that you want. That's that clear vision of what's next. So you've got that, right? I want you to make sure the next thing you do is capture your values. Now, we won't have time to go through the exercise together, but if you have done it before, you kind of capture those core values that you have. If you don't have core values established as you think about work, there is some amazing resources out there that are available and free. Feel free to DM me, email me. I'm happy to send some things your way that I have utilized, that others have developed, that I think are just really, really great as you're kind of thinking about your core values. But the reason that I bring them up, right, is that when we align our work, right, to our values, we are more inspired, right, to bring our best selves to work, right? When we are working towards something that aligns with our core, right, we are grounded. And research shows that when we align our career goals to our core values, not only do we find more joy at work, we're more likely to achieve those goals, right? It makes sense. If we're working towards something that's truly meaningful to us, right, we're working harder versus something that may be more meaningful to someone else. So you really want to make sure, right, that once you figure out, gosh, this is the exact type of role I want to make sure I'm positioned for, right, in my next, as I go through this career journey, make sure that the team, the organization, the business, that the values that you're seeing there align to your core values. And like I said, if you haven't taken the time to define those, please reach out. I'm happy to share some amazing resources that I've used myself that I think will be very helpful for you as you're going through that discovery. The other element I want to make sure that you capture as your lifestyle goals. Oh, a lot of times in my other session, when we talk about lifestyle goals, I get this blank face, and folks say, what exactly is a lifestyle goal? So I will give you an example, and hopefully that will unlock for you a lifestyle goal. So I once had a gal who worked for me, who was, even in the interview process, very, very clear that she loved to take a trip to Mexico twice a year, where she completely unplugged, did not do any type of work, and then came back in and kind of got going right from that vacation. Now, not every single role and opportunity that's out there will align to that lifestyle goal, right? There's a lot of roles I can think of where, gosh, you cannot completely unplug like that, right? Twice a year and just be able to dive right back in. Right? For the role that she was looking at, it fit fine, and she found fulfillment there, right? So it's important for you to understand what your lifestyle goals are, right? And ensure that the opportunity fits it. Because if you go seek out an opportunity, or maybe you're an opportunity today that's not fitting your lifestyle goals, right? You're back to feeling stuck, and you don't want that, right? You don't want that. You want to make sure, right, that if you have certain lifestyle goals, that you are earning the level that you want to be able to achieve those, right? And if flexibility is part of them, that the role has that flexibility. So again, something super, super critical for you to think about, make sure it's aligning, right? And part of my formula. And then lastly, all right, lastly is creating the goals and the plan, all right, to get there. So once you've got that clear vision of what it is that's going to truly ignite you, it's going to grow you, it's going to develop you, right? All that self-reflection stuff that I kind of quickly threw at you today, right? Once you've got line of sight to what's exciting again at work, it's aligned to your values, it's in a team, an organization, a business, right? A company that is going to fulfill that lifestyle that you want to live. Now it's time to figure out, okay, where do I need to invest, right? Because there might be some gaps right now for you today that you need to close before you can go chase that opportunity, or before that opportunity finds you, which tends to be more the case in the atmosphere that we're in today, right? And so you need to have that clear plan of action that's going to help you identify where to invest in yourself, right? How to invest in yourself, and the goal setting process that's going to get you there. Now, goal setting is super, super critical toward a successful journey. And we don't have time to jump into all of that, but if you want to talk a little bit more, please reach out. I did want to at least make sure that you had the full formula, right? So it's not just the clear vision, right? But it's aligning it to your values, making sure it fits the lifestyle that you want, and creating that plan of action that's going to get you there. That's the formula to getting unstuck. So with that, we've got a few minutes left. I do want to make sure that I send you on your way with a few tools and resources to make sure that you not only took the time right now to kind of kickstart things, but that you do something, right, with the brain energy that you just spent with me today. So I want you to capture what that next looks like. So take just a minute, and as you think about that moment of self reflection, the thoughts that I've shared with you today, that ideal next for you, what does that look and feel like? Go ahead and just jot down, a couple of words that come to mind that will reignite that feeling when you revisit your notes. So, what does my ideal next look like? Okay. Secondly, as you think about joy at work, right? There's things we're willing to do and we're not willing to do. So I want you to write down, right, that with joy at work as your goal, what is it you're willing to do to get there? Because it's an investment, right? It's not going to happen magically, or it would have happened already. What is it that you're willing to do? Are you willing to further explore, some career coaching? Are you willing to listen to some podcasts to get depth, in an area that maybe you don't have today? Are you willing to network more? There's a lot of things we're willing to do and we're not willing to do. So take a minute and capture for yourself, ooh, here's a few things that I'm willing to do, right? To continue this momentum that I started today. And lastly, accountability. All right. Don't let this be 30 minutes that you just set aside to kind of start thinking about, right? Let it be the seed that you planted because you want your career to grow somewhere, okay? So, in order to do that, I want you to write down, all right, here's somebody I'm going to tell today how I spent my lunch hour. Okay. This is what I did today. I met this gal, Felicia Heward. We talked about career navigation. She was stuck in her career once too. I got this out of it, right? And here's what I'm planning to do. That's the key part. Here's what I'm planning to do. When you set that I'm planning to do goal and you share it with someone else, you now have an accountability partner. So go ahead and grab your pen, write down the person's name, remind yourself that you need someone, right, that's going to hold you accountable to ensure that you keep going, right, in this direction that you're excited to take, right, and empowered to move forward. Awesome, awesome. So I know that was a lot, and I'm trying to get you out of here on time because I'm sure you got some stuff coming here up here at the hour. I want to take a minute and just thank you for your time and investing in yourself today. I love being a resource to women who are looking to develop themselves, who are looking for that right introduction, for that right, coach, mentor, whatever it might be. If there's something I can do to help play an active role in your success story, please reach out. If there's someone else that you feel like could utilize an opportunity to understand this formula or have a one-on-one, please send them my way. I love, love, love lifting others up. I was successful in my career because somebody took my hand and lifted me up, and I love to pay that forward. So I appreciate your time. Would love, love your feedback. And just really, really hope that you've got a nugget that is helping you move in the right direction. And with that, I will say thank you so much. And if you've got questions, you're welcome to reach out after. But I am going to go ahead and end the Zoom so that you can all get on with your day. So thanks so much for your time, and I wish you well in your career journey.